Welcome on in and gather around, gang. It's time for another Dev Diary. Triumph has released the second part to our tomes section of the Archon Prophecy Dev Diary, so I can't wait. Let's dive right on in. Actually, before I start, though, I am not feeling the greatest. Me and the Lady Wizard both woke up today with splitting headaches. My brain is trying to crawl out through my eye socket, so if I sound a little bit off or if I miss more than normal, if my reading is a little bit worse than normal, you know why. I'm going to try to get just this news video and the one over about the delay for Tides of Torment with Warhammer, and then that is going to be all I can probably get done today, so let's dive right on in. Hello again, my name is Lewis, Senior Designer at Triumph Studios, and as promised, this week I will be telling you about the Tome of the Revenant and Tome of the Archon, which are new Tier 4 tomes in the Archon Prophecy expansion coming out on the 12th of August, and they look incredible. I love even like the coins in the eyes here. This one is really cool looking, but I have a preference. This is awesome. This reminds me of Orzhov, good old Orzhov guild in Magic. Alright, so first we've got the Tome of the Archon, which we will give a quick little overview of. Looks like it is pure order. We have a building the Archon Gate, which this looks like the teleporter symbol. So likely will give us access to angelic units. We'll see. Summon celestial allies and ascend your units to the ranks of the Archons. Rejoice, for the Archons descend from the heavens once again. The day of reckoning has arrived, and you stand exalted with Titans and angels. Herald their arrival, witness how their wrath wreaks havoc on the wicked, and their blessings bestow grace on the blameless. You, righteous one, fear death no more, for ascension is attained through sacrifice. And that sounds very Orzhov too. Now we've got the Ascended Rebirth here, which looks like a combat spell. And I see a winged, that's a winged angel. We've got a Pure Soul and Holy Aura, which both look like either enchantments or, I guess we'll find out quite soon. They both kind of look like enchantments. We've got Celestial Guardians here, which maybe is how we'll summon in the Titans. And then we've got Summon Astra, which looks like a Tier 5. That's the Tier 5 unit we saw earlier on, which is, she's an actual Archon. I cannot wait. Let's get some more info. Tome of the Archon is a pure order Tier 4 tome whose spells evoke archonic magic of purity and rebirth. Through its power, you'll be able to field the mighty Titan and summon the ancient Astra to smite your enemies. Oh, look at the Titan. He's a giant with a little bit better looks. He's a handsome giant with armor and a great big bust of sword to teach people a lesson. Fantastic. So he's got heavy charge strike. This looks a lot like stat lines for a giant. So we will go ahead and compare with what we have in game in a moment, just to kind of show you all what we've got. So 140 health. That's very giant-esque. 6 armor, 5 resistance isn't bad. He doesn't move that far, though, unfortunately. He's a big old boy. He's got a bunch of tags here. The Celestial tags will have a little bit of weakness to blight, weakness to ice. Heavy charge strike with dealing 27 damage. Sunburst dealing a lot, too. So he deals radiant and physical, mainly. The radiant is my favorite damage type when you're playing on the Order Tome. So we'll see. We got Min the Weak here. For heals. I'm not sure if this will be heals for lower tier units, or I guess we'll find out. Control loss immunity being Celestial Demolisher, so we can smash through things. Inspiring Killer to boost up morale every time he slays things. Rite of Atonement. He's mending up a heart here. Siege Breaker to help your sieges go faster. Unstoppable Juggernaut to also... No, the Juggernaut lets you smash through things. Demolisher lets you just blow things up with your attacks. And then Zeal to deal even more spirit damage when enemies are... condemned. Let's take a look at the details. The Titan is an Archon, Tier 4 mythic of tremendous power, and with the capability to redeem the souls of its enemies. Its Sunburst ability deals fire and radiant damage, blinds in an area. Awesome. Yeah, so that's a blind is such an incredible debuff. Makes it so that enemies trying to fire back on you don't hit as often. I think it turns off the ability to retaliate with attacks. Mend the Weak heals as a free action, with its effect doubled when cast on units close to death. Ooh, a free action heal is also always good. We'll have to see just how much healing that is. It's probably around 15 to 20 since it's free, but we'll see. Its Rite of Atonement makes it so that upon killing an enemy, their soul reforms and transforms into a Tier 1 Lesser Light Spirit. That's awesome. On just killing an enemy? So that means, effects such as, like if they explode on death or something was to happen on death, that's not going to happen anymore because that unit, upon dying, just transforms into the Light Spirit. Also, it's a counter to a whole lot of stuff. No support elemental unit, it's a support of Order Affinity added in the free patch coming together with this expansion. If they survive to the end of the battle, you can purchase them for a mana cost as their Tier 3 evolved form, the Light Spirit. So you get them in battle as a Tier 1, and if they survive, they get to evolve into a Tier 3. Yeah, it seems pretty good. Since it is a tier 3, it's probably going to take you around 200 to 250 mana. This would be my guess. Because that's about how much it is for the same with the Lytheran. The Titan is unlocked for draft in the city with the construction of the Tome's Archon Gate. So the Archon Gate allows you to build Titans, but just Titans, which serves as a teleporter special province that grants high stability. Yeah, stability's alright. We'll see how much stability it actually does add. And here's Astra again. I think we definitely have seen this unit before. She might have gotten a little bit of a change. I think this was a much more tight blindfold before. Now it's kind of like wrappings. Either way, we've got Radiant Strike, Divine Sundering. Well, hang on now. Before we get any further with Astra, let's go ahead and compare the Titan to the like a Fire Giant we have in game currently. So 140, 6.5, and then 32. Let's see. All right, welcome to our Fire Giant. Yeah, 140 health, 6.5, 32. So very similar, very on par with your Giant. So he's basically just a cultured Giant with armor and a proper blade instead of swinging around a burning tree. The heavy charge strike here is dealing a little bit more damage. And then I think the Volcanic Smash dealing 1 less each. So he is about on par with the other. Very well, actually very well balanced from what it seems. We'll see just how balanced it is when you hit enemies and turn them into light spirits, but that's neither here nor there. Back over to seeing what Astra's all about. Or the Astra, huh? I guess if you could summon multiple, then it's multiple, I guess multiple incarnations of Astra? It's an interesting. She is a summonable tier 5 mythic unit. A leader among Archons. It's Archonic leadership granting all celestial units in the army with power and protection. Wielding a fiery sword, it burns and condemns those who oppose it. Divine Sundering is going to be a 2-hex cone single action ability that can be used to deal extra damage to any condemned unit, as well as sundering the defenses of those hit. She's going to be a monster. Radiant Strike just dealing physical and radiant damage, and then Divine Sundering dealing 50 damage. That is insane. Angelic Grace, Archonic leadership. So that was saying with the leadership, all celestial units have power and protection, so probably increased damage, and then, well, obviously increased damage, but probably like 10%, and then 1 or 2 additional defense and resistance. We'll see. It also has 2... Hang on, now that was a 2-hex cone? 50 damage in a 2-hex cone? I mean, fair enough. She's going to delete units. It also has 2 protective abilities in the form of Angelic Grace and Holy Aura. The first is a support ability that heals and grants a stack of grace to all friendly units at a 2-hex radius. Lots of 2-hex heals going on here. I'm here for that. The Holy Aura is a passive halo around the unit that protects friendly units from status effects and damages adjacent enemies with spirit damage. Yeah, so the stop hitting yourself builds are actually maybe going to be a thing. We're definitely going to try it here with maybe such as like a Paladin or the Clay... I think it's called the Clay Charger, the Clay Defender. It's got a spike shield, which is going to deal damage to anyone that is hitting them anyway. So if we can just kind of layer up a whole bunch of, if you hit this unit, you take damage effects, we can probably do some mean stuff. Alright, we won't worry about comparing Astra, because although the tier 5 units are very unique. I do, though, love the Paladin. I cannot wait to have full stacks of these ladies. The enchantment Holy Aura grants a part of Astra's power to your melee units, granting them the same protection to friendly units and damage to your foes. Oh, I see. So they have that little... They'll have a halo around them, and if anyone gets close, they'll take damage, and... Yeah, they'll take damage, and we have good protection from status effects. Seems pretty decent. But it seems like it also is going to send that protection to anyone, so it'll probably put out a halo on the map itself, and anyone standing inside of that, you can see the damage mitigation or the damage your enemies will be taking. Up next, we have the Tome provides a minor transformation, Pure Soul. So Pure Soul is a minor order transformation, which allows it to go with Angelic quite well, which is something that I was kind of concerned with. So you can have Pure Soul, you can have all of the order minor transformations as well as Angelic, and just be, I guess, almost nigh immune to spirit damage, and become an arbiter of the Archons. This transformation gives your unit some self-purification capabilities, cleansing negative status effects at the start of a turn, and if the status effect removed has a counter status effect that is positive, the unit will gain a stack of it. For example, if the unit with transformation is slowed, at the start of its turn it will remove the slow, and it will gain haste in its place. That's incredible. You think you're going to debuff us? No. We're going to be stronger instead. You do get the debuff for 1 turn, but that's entirely fine. And even if you get something like stunned, it's still going to purify that stun for the next turn. I'm here for that. Other spells and unlocks. Celestial Guardians targets a friendly army on the world map and grants their stack leader a buff that adds 2 extra Archon Celestial Tier 3 units the next combat they join. Wow, that's awesome. So you just select an army and the next combat they join, period. This will likely get nerfed eventually to being it'll last only for a certain number of map turns. But for now, we will be exploiting. Well, as soon as it releases, we'll be exploiting this to our heart's content. Ascendant Rebirth brings back the spirit of a friendly fallen unit to combat in the form of a Vigil, a Tier 3 battle mage. It also heals all friendly units in a large radius for 20 hit points. I like that this is the only one that's damaged to show this off. Still bringing back any unit so it could be just a Tier 1 garbage. Bringing it back as a Vigil, that's incredible. I wonder if the Vigil then goes away at the end of combat, or if you get to keep it for mana cost. We'll see. Up next is the Tome of the Revenant, which I think looks incredible. It's an Order and Shadow Tome. I think the very first of this combo. You get an Acropolis building and raise an army of corrupted and undead Archons, and use their knowledge to make your undead come back again and again, while protecting them from those who would use the powers of light and fire. Oh no, that's scary. Chamber of the Right, Undead Resentment, Unholy Champion, Revenant Whispers. These look like mostly spells. And then Summon Fallen Angel. Summon a Fallen Angel. Awesome. So it was an Asher that didn't survive. We who perish for the light, whilst they bask in its glory. We who were forsaken, whilst they were beloved. We shall build our... I'll have to read. Necropolises from the bones of their failures. From the darkness of exile we shall plot their demise. The Tome of the Revenant is a Shadow and Order Affinity Tier 4 tome that gives you access to the Revenant units, Archons that became corrupt and have risen again as undead. There's 2 new units here, the Undead Titan and the Fallen Angel. Oh, look at you! What is this? Does his helmet become part of his skull? They all melded together. Got all the kind of the drapery to him and a frost blade. Sweet. So he's basically the same, but when you swap out fire damage for ice. You got Heavy Charge Strike, Dread Burst. Looks like it just does about the same. You can conjure in skeletons. That's fun. And then he has the Rite of Undeath, which likely will transform enemies into undead when they're killed. Similar to the other Titan. Let's find out. The corrupt version of the Titan, the Undead Titan, is in many ways an opposite to its celestial version. The Dread Burst ability, a corrupted version of the Titan's Sunburst, inflicts remorse and decaying. 2 pretty decent debuffs. Decaying is a huge problem. It stops any kind of regeneration, and then you just take 10 damage a turn. It's nasty. Additionally, the Undead Titan possesses 2 skeleton summoning abilities. Conjure Skeleton is a low cooldown, free cast ability that summons in a single skeleton. I mean, is that better than I think that's definitely better than a heal. Depending on the situation, I mean, you can just keep sitting in skeletons, depending on how many cooldowns, or how many turns this takes. It's a low cooldown, so probably every 2 turns. I can't imagine them giving you a skeleton every turn. That would be silly. Or every other turn, even. Its passive ability, Rite of Undeath, further bolsters its undead ranks by converting any unit it slays into a skeleton. So, unlike the other where you get a Light Spirit and then you can keep it at the end, but you can probably keep the skeleton too, it's not going to turn into a Tier 3, I don't think. But we'll find out, man. This unit can be accessed by building a special province improvement, the Necropolis. So same as the other, instead of the Archon Gate, it's the Necropolis. This improvement grants the drafting of Undead, the Undead Titan, all Tier 1 skeleton units, and the Corrupt Soul. Okay, seems like the Archon Gate may need to also give you some angels. It additionally provides a soul income to your city to help fuel in this tome's units and spells. Incredible. So that does tell us that most of the spells are definitely going to be costing souls to cast. Just something to use your souls on. And the Fallen Angel, though, this looks incredible. Although you need to clip these nails here, sir. That's gross. He's got a Book of Doom. We've got Corrupt Bolts here, so it's similar to Astra, except for he's going to be a Battle Mage. So a Battle Mage dealing... I don't know, what would you call this damage? Order and Ice together. Either way, it does Corrupt Bolts. We got Ray of Corruption doing a big chunk of damage, but we'll see what that does. It probably deals damage and then maybe steals something else. Dark Temptation, which probably steals a unit as well. Probably lots of unit steal capabilities here with the Fallen Angel. Dark Rites, Heartless, Soul Maintenance. So you have to upkeep it with souls. Interesting. The Fallen Angel is a summonable Tier 5 unit in the Tome of the Revenant. This corrupt angel has access to powerful magics, Ray of Corruption, a long and wide beam attack of Revenant magic that weakens, demoralizes, and then replenishes the health of the Fallen Angel. So it does the Remorse, it weakens enemies, and it's like a Hyper Beam. That's fun. The Dark Temptation reveals hidden knowledge to enemy units and attempt to convert and dominate them to the Angel's side. So this part doesn't matter. It is basically a conversion effect. Depending on how many times you can use that in a battle, that's going to be scary. And look at this effect, that's awesome. Kind of a Dark Halo. Undead Resentment is a unit enchantment that uses the Revenant's past Archonic knowledge to grant all undead units protection from the Archon's radiant fire. The enchantment increases spirit and fire resistance, is so strong. I guess it just gets them from being, because I guess naturally they're weak to it. I wonder if it's actually a true 4, so it just gets them up to being not to neutral. Neutral would not be the worst, but it's not going to be the greatest either. We'll have to find out just how impactful this protection is. It also grants Vicious Killer, meaning your units are better at demoralizing their foes in battle, which is always good. This comes out at the cost of souls for each enchanted unit, so make sure your economy can handle it. The first soul-specific enchantment, that's fun. Other spells it unlocks. The spell Unholy Champion is a combat buff that greatly bolsters a unit's damage, grants them Undying, reviving them after 2 turns after being dead in combat, and Armor of Despair, which grants defensive stats against the attacks of demoralized units. You thought my best unit was going to die, now he'll be back, just you wait. To further boost your undead, the Chamber of the Right is a city structure that makes all undead units produced in a city gain natural regeneration. Wow, that's so strong, increasing their regeneration in both the world map and in combat. It's very good, but natural regeneration is very easily countered just by damage. So it's one of those where it's good at keeping your units alive in the fight, but they won't come out of the fight in necessarily good shape because they're still taking damage. So we'll have to see there. It looks incredible, the spell effects. I had a lot of fun designing and testing these tomes, and hope you get to enjoy them when the Archon Prophecy expansion comes out on the 12th of August. I look forward to next week when we all have Alex telling us about the art for the Archon Prophecy expansion. I can't wait either. Well done, Lewis. These tomes all look great. I honestly can't wait to try out all 4 of them. Let me know which is your favorite, though, in the comments below. I think the Revenant or the Archon is going to be my favorite. These 2 tier 4s, I don't know. It's gonna be probably a coin toss on that one. Either way, though, that's all the time I've got for today. Thank you all for stopping on my today's Dev Diary Deep Dive. If you enjoyed, please remember to leave a like for the like god and a sub for the sub zone, and I'll see you all in the next one.